Hey guys, it's Lex. Oh, I look all fat. Oh my gosh. But I'm making another video about the fatness, the chichos. So I haven't been making videos recently because I was sick. My baby was sick. My boyfriend was sick. So now I was on Facebook and someone put up an article, and then I you know, once I see something, I always have to check to make sure it's true, because not all the time I believe things. And it was an article about a woman who basically lived like this wonderful life, and then she died all by herself. She died alone in her flat in London, and no one noticed for almost 3 years that she had passed away. And it's really sad. So it says on this is the article that I got from The Guardian. It's by Carol Morley. It says on 25th of January 2006, officials in North London Housing Association repossessing a bedside in Wood Green. This it's just weird. It just touched my heart. I'm sorry, guys. So basically, they went to take the lady's apartment, like to repossess the apartment because no one has been paying rent for over like a little bit more than 2 years, almost 3 years. And they went into the house and they found a woman lying on a sofa. Well, not a woman; she was a skeleton of a 38-year-old woman who had been dead for almost 3 years. How do you die for almost 3 years and no one noticed that, like, like you're missing? And then she was laying on the sofa with the TV on. So she would have the TV on for 3 years with unopened Christmas presents. So it was around Christmas time. She left the window open, and there was a lot of mail. Like, people just kept pushing through the door. And all the food in the refrigerator was marked with 2003 expiration dates. The body was so bad decomposed that it could only be identified with dental records. I first heard about this story a few years ago, and it's just like something that just popped up and it went away. And I know an episode of Being Mary. I think Being Mary Jane is like loosely based off the life of this lady, like a rather successful woman who just dies. And I think they did like what you call it, an episode where they did this loosely based of this woman's life named Joyce Carol Vincent. I'm sorry. I was trying to watch a documentary because I found it was a documentary called Dreams of a Life. The mystery, I think, is more about how she lived and how she died, because everyone was like, she was beautiful, she was successful, she knew famous people, she was like one of the most beautiful women, talented women, she had the life that everyone dreamed of. And people kind of forgot about her because they thought she was just off like living a more fabulous life than them. So they kind of just like, and it made me scared because it's like you surround yourself with so many people and then something happens to you and no one even notices that you're gone. And it's really creepy. For 3 years, no one was like, hey, what happened to her? Like, even if she had family. I heard that she was engaged. And they don't even know how she died because when they found her, she was a skeleton. So, and they said that she was really social, and it makes me think like people who smile and they're always happy, they go home and they be lonely. One article, a lady said that she died from loneliness, and she just sitting there wrapping gifts, laid on the couch and died. That just doesn't make any sense. And I'm seeing that I'm looking at comments now because this happening. This documentary, Dreams of a Life, came out in 2011. This happened in 2006. And then people were shocked to see what she lived. It was just so sad. And I really don't want to read this whole article to you. She had 4 sisters, an ex-fiance at the time of her death, but all declined interviews. Her rent was subsidized, so it took longer to serve an eviction. And then she lived in like a busy part of town, so people were just walking by. Her neighbors said they never spoke to her. It's just creepy because that was me before I had a baby. I would just go home. I wouldn't speak to people, and I would just like go in the house, and I would just be in my own little world with my cat. And it's like, if I would have died, people wouldn't have noticed. Like, I have 4 brothers, and I have like a mom, an aunt. But I'm the type of person that gets out of touch a lot. So they probably would have just thought like, hey, she's just being Alexis. That's really creepy. When she died, she was 38 years old. And she's so beautiful. I wish I could show you this picture. Can you see this picture of her? The glare. Ugh. I'll put a picture at the beginning. I'm really trying to see this documentary. I was trying to find it. I look a mess. I always look a mess. I was trying to find it. Oh, I look like so much fatter. I was trying to find it on the Fire Stick. I couldn't find it. I was trying to find it on YouTube. I couldn't find it. So if anyone can get me this documentary called Dreams of a Life, because I just don't understand how you could die and be alone for 3 years. Like, it made me cry. I'm not even gonna lie. I really cried. So I'm gonna read the article by Joyce Vincent. It's called Joyce Vincent, Dead and Alone for 3 Years by Jim H. And he wrote this July 9, 2006. Skeletal remains lay on the sofa surrounded by a shopping bag and Christmas presents that had recently been wrapped. Both the heater and TV were on, and mail was piled up outside the door. Joyce Vincent had been dead in her studio apartment for 3 years before law enforcement officials found her. Her body was so badly decomposed at the point they had to use her dental imprints to identify her. How could a woman who people describe as beautiful, intelligent, and upwardly mobile have been dead for 3 years without anyone in the entire world knowing about it? She was born in England in 1965 and was the youngest of 5 daughters. Blessed with a beautiful face and a winning smile, in the 80s she moved to London where she hung out with musicians and producers, some who were famous. Investigators report that there did not appear to be any foul play in Joyce's death. In November 2003, she went to the hospital because she had vomited blood, and doctor diagnosed her with peptic ulcer. She remained in the hospital for 2 days. Joyce also suffered from asthma, and officials felt that she possibly died of natural causes, either from complications of ulcer or the asthma. About a month after returning home from the hospital, she died on her sofa. Neighbors did not report anything strange to authorities, although when later questioned, a number of them said they detected a foul odor. Joyce's next-door neighbor, Michael Dobbs, said that, including the foul smell, every time I opened my window, I would see strange little black insects crawling through. The death of Joyce Vincent seemed to go unnoticed. Found dead 3 years later, a benefits agency was paying half her rent, so the housing authority continued to accept partial payments on the flat. Finally, after several attempts to collect the remaining balance on the rent that was due, the housing authority issued a repossession notice to reclaim the flat. They entered the apartment in 2006 and found Joyce's remains on the couch. So they're saying that her sister's she's so beautiful, hired a private investigator to look for her. Although the detective had found the place where she lived, he was unable to contact her. The family thought she had maybe deliberately disappeared, given her history of erratic behavior. Look how pretty. And I'm bringing up the topic of how she looked because people often think that when people are so beautiful that they can't go through things like this. So Joyce Carol was found dead and alone after 3 years. Her life and death remains a mystery that we may never solve. The details of her situation, why she chose to isolate herself, how could she have died of natural causes at such a young age, and who her boyfriend was at the time, and how not a single soul felt determined enough to find her, even though they knew where she lived would be lost with her forever. And the references are The Guardian, Wikipedia, Scotland Herald, and BBC News. It's just really sad, guys. I don't want no one to notice that I'm not here. And I know I disappeared from YouTube lately because I told you I was sick and I like a lot of other little things I'll make a video about. But to think about that, like to be gone for 3 years and no one not even notice, like that's really sad.